This week on Premier Interschools, we look ahead to a massive encounter in Cape Town, at the field that is the birthplace of schools rugby in South Africa, when two neighbours become rivals, one of the oldest rugby derbies in the country. It's Bishops versus Rondebosch, right here on Premier Interschools, live on Supersport.
Premier Interschools Rugby, feast your eyes on it.
All of the schools ready to sing to one another, the players back to the fans.
Oh, yes!
Look at that, the sidestep.
She does on the line. It's another try.
In this week's Premier Interschools encounter, we go to one of the biggest and oldest rugby derbies in the country, as Bishops take on their neighbours down Tully Allen Road, Rondebosch Boys High. Bishops Diocesan College was founded in 1849. An early form of rugby was first brought to Bishops in 1861, when Canon Ogilvie became the school's principal. The field on which these early games took place remains the same to this day, and is very possibly the oldest rugby field in Africa, with a record of games going back over 170 years. Bishop's old boy, Barry Heatley, was the captain of a South African team. It was Heatley who provided the old diocesan's green jersey for the national team, which evolved into the green and gold colours currently worn by the Springboks. There are over 780 boys at the school, which has 8 houses for both day boys and boarders. Bishops has contributed over 37 Springboks, and almost 50 if one includes players before they became known as the Springbok national team. More recent alumni include Robbie Fleck, Selborne Boom, and Francois Lowe. Bishops has also produced several internationals. In the 2003 Rugby World Cup, there were 3 old diocesans: Stuart Abbott, who played for England, the late Daniel Vickerman, who played for Australia, and Selborne Boom for South Africa.
So the Bish-Bosh fixture, no matter what sport it's in, is always a big rivalry. We're about a kilometre apart from each other. Many of the boys know each other and have known each other since prep school. They socialise together, and they play sports and they compete together, and it's a huge occasion for them. You know, there's this brand of Bishops rugby, running rugby, whatever you want to call it, that is very much part of who we are, and playing an exciting brand of rugby. That sometimes it comes with risks. You know, you play exciting rugby, you play risky rugby, and so it's not necessarily the sort of win-at-all-costs approach. We do like winning, of course we do, but we prefer playing rugby the way that we think rugby was designed to be played, and that's to have fun, to throw the ball around, and to express yourself on the field.
We asked Coach Wesley Chetty for his thoughts on the Rondebosch game.
I think it's going to be a great match. You know, I know they coach Joel Carew very well. We played together at for the UCT rugby side for years. So yeah, they're going to be a really well coached side. I know that for a fact, and I know that they're going to be training really, really hard, as they always do, as all the teams do. Nobody goes out there trying to not do well. So they're going to be up for it, and we're going to have to try and match them. You know, as we always talk about at Bishops, the work, we don't wait for the result to be done on the day. It's the build-up that's really important for us, and the score will take care of itself if we worked hard enough. I think for a lot of teams to come here, it's a difficult place to come and play with the history we have and the heritage of the field itself. You know, I was watching the Stormers train out here the other day, and they were just commenting on the fact that it's the Piley Reese coming to train out here. So we see it as quite a fortress for us, and we want to do as best as we can to honour those before us then.
Looking back at the last 10 results, the 2022 team has performed well. They have recently faced some formidable opposition, going down to Boland Landbou, Paul Boys, Wynberg Boys, and drawing with Paul Roos. But they've also scored notable wins against strong contenders, including Parktown Boys, Maritzburg College, Grey High, and Outeniqua. This year, Rondebosch has performed equally well, perhaps better, against similar opposition, so the stage is set for the clash of the Cape Town Titans on the Piley Reese.
Well, as we've seen from the previous years and the history between the two schools, we know it's a big one. And we know the history between the two schools is quite massive and it goes deep down. So I think the Bishops, it means quite a lot. The hype around the game is very big.
In terms of South African games, the two big games I can think of is Paarl Boys and then Rondebosch. I mean, the amount of supporters, the amount of hype around the entire of Cape Town, I mean, everyone comes down to watch the game. Our speed and intensity within the team this year is something that's really going to dominate. And then not only do we have the speed, but we also have the brutality of the forwards and the centres to pair with that speed. So I think it's going to be a really dangerous combo for Bosch to deal with.
We've got a lot of positives, and I think we line up very well to Bosch, and I think it's going to be a cracking game. I mean, the whole week throughout the school there's a massive build-up of hype. So the training definitely gets much more intense throughout the week. And yeah, everyone just can't wait. It's up there with the biggest.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere in the squad is good at the moment. It's been good all season. I think the boys are very keen and up for this fixture. I know everyone is excited about this fixture. Doesn't get much bigger. We did beat them quite convincingly last year with a different team than this year. A lot of youngsters coming up in the team this year and a lot of new matrix. There's only a few of us, grade 11s, last in the team. But yeah, as a Rondebosch fixture, anything can happen. No one can predict the result in a derby like that, no matter what team you have or they have. Yeah, it's completely up to the day.
The schools usually play 2 games each year, home and away, apart from the last 2 pandemic years. Over the past 8 years, the scoreboard is even, with both schools notching 8 wins, 8 losses and 2 draws. So there's massive pride at stake in this fixture, as each school will want to take home the bragging rights for 2022. Rondebosch Boys High was founded in 1897 and has become one of the foremost boys' schools in the peninsula, with approximately 800 boys, of which around 120 are boarders. Rondebosch has produced 21 Springboks and a number of players who have represented other countries, including Dion O'Kinnigan, who captained Ireland, and Marcel Brachi, who captained the USA rugby team. Springbok alumni include Nyani Shamangi, Amadi Bobo, and Joel Stransky. Zane Davids and now Dalvin Blood play for the Blitzbokke.
Obviously, the last 2 years have created a bit of a vacuum in the sporting world. And so for these boys to be back into the normality of playing proper games against proper opposition is huge. It's the derby in the boys' minds in the school. And particularly for the boys who are leaving, it's considered a last gasp opportunity to play against their traditional rivals in a rivalry that goes back more than 100 years. And I think that the first game is often a trendsetter, because you know who has won and you know what you've got to do in the second match. So the fact that the first game is the premier game means that it will set the tone for the next match that comes.
Rondebosch first team coach Joel Carew knows Bishop's coach Wesley Chetty well and is looking forward to setting up his boys against his old colleague.
Yeah, so me and Chetty, obviously he's a Rondebosch old boy and then a Bishop's old boy, but he used to be the old boy and I took over after him at UCT. So that's how we sort of had that sort of relationship, and then we also meet each other on the rugby field or the coaching field now also. So pretty excited to see take Chetty on again. I think that the derby speaks for itself. So in terms of getting the boys up for the game, I think again it's about getting the energy levels down and managing that energy levels. They're obviously going to go out and smash your neighbour or the derby game. So I think it's about managing that energy levels and make sure that they're controlling the energy in the right direction.
The Rondebosch team has produced excellent results this year, scoring notable wins over Polroos, Paarl Boys and Sachs. They suffered narrow losses against Jeppe Boys and Grey High, and more recently went down to Wynberg Boys and Parel Gym. Compared with Bishops, they are possible favourites in this encounter, but they are playing away, and and in a game with so much history, it's still anyone's guess. The only thing we can say with any certainty is Bish Bosh will be fast, exciting and very entertaining.
Wow, Bish Bosh is probably one of the hugest things I think that I've been through, especially through my Rondebosch career, because I was always big on rugby, always one of my dreams to put on the Bosch first team jersey and run onto the field and just be a part of the school and give back to the school in a way. Well, the spirit in the school is like, it's crazy. Boys are shouting corridors days before. Everyone's looking forward to it, hockey, rugby, all the sports. So yeah, like Bish Bosh is always one of the biggest things to look forward to in high school actually, but your matric year is probably the most important one. Well, unfortunately I couldn't play last year's game due to concussion because of the previous game against Sachs, but I was on the sideline and I could see it hurt the boys mentally. So they're also physically tired. But I think this year we're putting a lot of hard work. Head coach, we have obviously a new change, new system, so I think we will give it a good go and then show Bishops what we have, even though they might have had a win last year, but I think it's time for change.
Yeah, last year it hurt. It hurt to take a loss against the Bishops. Any loss to Bishops hurts, but this year it's a new year, a new side. They've got a new side. A lot of their matrics left, our matrics left, but a lot of the grade 11s that played last year are still here. So this year it looks positive. All the boys have been working hard and we hope to take the win this year.
For me, I haven't really looked that much at Bishops. I think the main focus is to focus on ourselves, to focus on the bigger goal, and that's to obviously take the points against Bishops, at Bishops. And all I want to do is just have a huge draw with some of my friends in the last Bish Bosh game. That's what it's about. It's about their mates.
Kickoff is this Saturday, the 11th of June. Get there early because record crowds are expected. It's Bish Bosh, Bishops versus Rondebosch in Premier Interschools, live on Supersport this Saturday.
All of the schools ready to sing to one another, the players back to the fans.
Oh, yes! Look at that, the sidestep.